When you think about the media industry and COVID and this digital transformation that we thought was going to take about a decade, we've really got to focus on the video on demand and streaming on demand. That's where things are going. If you look at Netflix with over 200 million subscribers, Amazon's got 200 million subscribers. We're really talking about a market that has really shifted in drastic ways. We used to be linear TV, right? Linear programs, we would watch when it was on, Saturday morning cartoons, Friday night TGIF. And now we're looking at video on demand and different business models. We have a subscription on demand, we've got transaction on demand, we've got advertising, different ways that we can monetize the content out there. And then you think about content, seeing huge consolidation in the industry simply because of content. Who owns the IP? Who's making the IP? And who's spending the billions of dollars to do it? Are we going to do kind of the traditional model where we're going to have a studio and produce it, or are we going to have user generated? Other trends that you might think about are just the video experience, the viewing experience, live events, on demand, or a hybrid of the two. Things like growth areas and geographies, India and China having huge growth, Netflix just announcing a service just for India. We've got huge things going on. I mentioned the digital transformation. Well, COVID accelerated that, and we've seen 10 years worth of digital transformation happening almost overnight or seemingly overnight. We also think about challenges. Consolidation's a big one. How do smaller players disrupt the industry? Or is it going to be the big players that are ultimately going to be successful? We have huge concerns about security and privacy right now. And then always, it's the content. Who owns the content? Who's producing the content? Now, from an operator standpoint, you've got other things to think about. You've got platform. Are we going to do this all with on-premises equipment? Are we going to outsource it and do it more cloud-based? How do we deal with huge peaks in demand and then off times when we don't have that? And there's always the pressure on operating costs. As you do more outside and more cloud-based, how are we going to pay for that? Do we build the bandwidth for demand that's coming? And how do we keep costs low? So if you think about all that's going on, we face traditional challenges, we face new and emerging challenges, things that are challenging our business model as well. And you have to think about who's going to win. Well, the folks that are going to win may own the IP like it's always been. The folks that are going to win are going to be able to manage costs, the cost of the content, the cost of operation. They're going to be able to manage the consumer trends, instant gratification, live events, streaming, on demand. They're going to be able to help assuage the security and privacy concerns that are out there and make that quality of viewing experience a really high level quality viewing experience. We're going to look at a number of things. We're going to look at revenue trends. We're going to look at subscription trends. We'll take a look at things like operating expenses and what's going on there, content production and the cost of content production, and some of the other trends that we've just talked about. If you look at the media industry, especially video on demand, there are some estimates right now that say it's anywhere from $100 to $160 billion, going to $300 billion to a $1 trillion plus industry. It's something that's going to be pervasive for all of us. The other thing right now, if you're looking, just users right now inside the US spend more than 8 hours a day consuming video on demand. It's something we have to be aware of. Whether you're inside the industry or outside the industry, it's going to be a part of life. How does business acumen help you within the media industry? Well, it's going to help you monitor trends. You think about subscriptions. For example, Netflix, their subscription growth has kind of tailed off. You got to ask the question, if subscriptions plateau, what happens to stock price? Well, that's important because stock price is going to help them with growth. It's going to help them get capital so they can continue to produce or buy content. That content is going to be able to drive subscription growth. So being able to understand all of the levers within the industry, subscription and revenue relationships, being able to pay for the content, being able to pay for the platforms, and understanding CapEx versus operating expenses and how that flows through performance and how that performance is then reflected in stock price and valuation and things of that nature are going to impact both the operator. It's going to impact us as a consumer as well, being able to consume whatever content they're able to produce. So when you're looking at this industry, I think more than ever, we can't just be creators. We can't just be great operators and platform managers. We have to be able to integrate everything, and business acumen is going to get you there.